Evening, folks. Yes, I am the last speaker. So I'm sure a lot of you out there must be tweeting from your phone saying, oh, there's a brew dude out there trying to stop you from the entertainment and the music that's going to follow. I actually agree with you, so I'll try to keep my session very quick. And needless to mention, I and a lot of my engineering colleagues will be available after the talk to answer any questions you have. So the topic for the day is a Brew mobile platform, BrewMP. So I'll start with a little bit of background on how we got here, how we got to BrewMP, and then talk more about where we are and where we are heading. Okay. When we started Brew about, I would say, 9 years ago, the fundamental philosophy was we wanted all the players in this system to win. Right? The players were OEMs. We definitely wanted folks to be able to sell more handsets. Operators, we definitely wanted them to be able to make more revenues through data. Qualcomm, yes, definitely more revenues through chipset sales and services. Developers, we wanted to give developers an opportunity to bring more compelling apps and compelling content to the devices. And needless to mention the consumers. We definitely wanted the consumers to have an opportunity to have very compelling content on their devices. So we started Brew with the intention that everybody in this system should win. So it's actually way back in 2002, I would say. There were two key elements to Brew at that point. One is the distribution system, which is basically the App Store technology that Mohit just talked about. The idea was a technology that allows downloading of applications. It's basically a vending machine that can host and download Brew applications. And the protocol between the handset and the server was intelligent enough so that when a handset connects to the server, it would only show those applications that can actually run on this device. And then the second big piece of the Brew platform was the client itself. That's the handset piece. That is the piece that runs on the device, and that's the one that knows how to talk to the distribution system to authenticate the user and download the content and take care of billing and so on. So that's the fundamental Brew. And then there's a very small section of OEMs who are using Brew as a handset platform and not necessarily connected to the backend system. Most of the Brew handsets that you see out there are typically connected to a backend, and that backend is usually hosted by the operators, whether it's Verizon or KDDI or Reliance or Tata. Usually those handsets are connected to a backend hosted by the operators. So this is where we were. And then with that, we had about 70 plus device partners who have actively deployed Brew on their handsets. We had about 1,400 plus Brew-enabled handset models in the market that the device partners launched in the time frame from 2002 through now. And then we had about 250 million plus Brew and addressable Brew devices in the market. That's the big market space that we were going after. And the biggest number of all was the amount that was paid out to the developers. There were over $3 billion in earnings for developers. Developers meaning third-party developers who built content and applications for Brew-enabled handsets. This is the big numbers that we had achieved ever since Brew started in 2002. But then over a period of time, what happened was the wireless market has changed. Right? So end users are actually demanding smartphone features on their everyday devices. Now, when I say smartphone features, I'm actually talking about things like a complete touchscreen, a compelling browser, say a compelling navigation client, a compelling messaging suite, and so on. So end users are actually demanding smartphone-like features on their everyday devices. That is where the situation was, I would say, around 2008 or 2009. So that's when the engineering and the product management team in Qualcomm went back to the drawing board saying, okay, what is next? We've got Brew. There's a huge traction for Brew out there, largely operator-focused. But then the market has changed. Consumers want compelling features on their everyday devices. So what do we do? When we looked at the opportunity, we realized that the opportunity is huge. We're not talking of tens of millions of devices. We're actually talking of hundreds of millions of devices. So clearly the market has changed. Clearly there is an opportunity, which means we have to leverage what we've got with Brew and do something even beyond. That is the stage that was set for the next big thing that Qualcomm was going to do. And that is when we came up with this platform called Brew Mobile Platform, which is a fully realized operating system. Because as you can see, there are two key pieces to it. On the left, so starting with the App Store, so we continue to support the App Store technology that the legacy Brew system supported. The bottom is the platform. That's the fundamental platform that sits on the device. So every device, every BrewMP device has the basic platform with it. And then we have a set of compelling core applications. I mean, prior to BrewMP, we did not have a compelling set of UI for the devices. So it was largely left to the OEMs or the ODMs to come up with the UI on top of the Brew platform. So clearly that was a lot of work. And Qualcomm's intention was to make it easier and faster for OEMs and ODMs to bring handsets to the market. So one of the key missing pieces was to add the compelling UI. So we've got that piece onto the BrewMP operating system pool. And then another big aspect of BrewMP is the ecosystem, is the developer ecosystem. Right? I think it's for any mobile OS to succeed, one of the key parameters to measure the success of an OS is to measure the number of third-party developers that are writing to that OS. So it's very important that any platform for mobile caters to the needs of the developer community. And that's exactly what you see on the right side. Things like a software development kit. And the idea is to allow developers to do as much of their development on a PC where it's significantly easier to develop and debug. So we have a compelling SDK. The idea is to have a compelling set of tools for the developers, whether it's for debugging or whether it's for tweaking or optimizing performance, and so on. So we have a compelling set of tools. And not to mention the documentation and the web support. I think it's very important to have a compelling set of documentation and support for the product so that developers can very quickly bring content or bring applications on BrewMP devices. So the key message here is, yes, there's a lot of focus on the handset side of things, including the App Store and the platform, but also there's a lot of focus on the developer community. Focus on how to make it easy for developers to quickly embrace the platform and quickly produce content and applications for the platform. So it is with that focus that we came up with BrewMP as a complete operating system to cater to feature phones and smartphones. So Qualcomm is committed to using BrewMP as one of the vehicles to further proliferate 3G in the market. And we believe that this being one of the powerful tools, homegrown in Qualcomm, will significantly enable the proliferation of the new technologies. So as we talked, Qualcomm will continue to support the other high-level operating systems as my colleagues talked. We will definitely continue to support Android. We will continue to support Windows Mobile. However, we will also support BrewMP on our chipset tiers. And as you must have seen in the QRD deck, there are chipsets which have BrewMP on them, and there are chipsets that have Android and Windows Mobile on them as well. And as QCT and as Qualcomm, it's our intent to ensure that we offer a compelling solution to the customers to help them bring to market very quickly. And BrewMP is one of the vehicles that will let the OEMs do that.